I'm Chief Cheryl Victorian. This is Waco PD on the beat. Whether it's crime or just getting to know the Waco Police Department, we're here to talk about things that matter most to you.
Waco, and welcome to On the Beat. I'm Officer AJ Smith, the Crime Stoppers Coordinator for McLennan County.
And I'm Sierra Shipley, the Public Information Officer for the Waco Police Department. And we have a twofer today because we got not twins. You guys look like twins, though.
I know, it's very confusing.
We get that a lot.
Pretty much. No, we got two officers here, and they are brothers. It is Manuel Esqueda, or Manny, I like to call him, and Abraham Esqueda. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
yeah. Appreciate it. And so you guys are you guys still considered rookies?
Yeah,
yes,
we are.
Yes, no, yes.
I think
I don't know if that's politically correct.
I don't know like the length of term until you're not called a rookie anymore. Because you guys are still in your first year and a half still?
Yeah, I want to say I've heard somewhere between like 5 years until you're not considered a rookie.
5 years into when you're not considered a rookie?
It just depends on who you talk to. I'll always be a rookie in some people's eyes. So, are you guys off probation? That's the important one.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost, yeah.
Almost. Okay, so explain for people who don't know, what is probation? What's that period like, or what is it?
So probation is where you're already a commissioned officer, but it's like a, how can I say it? Like when you get hired at a new job and they have like a period where you can either quit or they can fire without any consequence. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it is that if you're not a good fit or you feel like, or if you make a big enough mistake or something like that, then they can release you.
Right. Okay, very good. Well, I'm glad you guys are still here and nothing happened in that time.
Basically, Waco is a civil service agency, yes. So we have to be employed for a certain period of time. And within that window, they can fire us for any reason. We're essentially at will until we're off probation.
Right. So. Okay. Very good. So now, whose idea was it to be a police officer? Did you guys have the idea at the same time? Because before this, you also worked together at your previous jobs, and then you came here. Right. Is this just a trend we're doing?
Yeah, it kind of is. Well, I'll let Abraham speak, but it was his idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just following each other around.
But how did that come about, and how did you convince him?
Yeah, so I wanted to go in law enforcement, and I just didn't know how to get into it until I spoke to some SROs from one of the school districts I used to work in, and basically they explained to me the process of the hiring, everything, like how it goes, like how you get hired, the process of the academy, all that stuff. So I was like, so you don't need a degree to be able to become a police officer then, like an actual criminal degree. And they told me, no, you just apply, you go through all their background checks and all that good stuff. It takes a little while, but it's good. So after I researched a little bit, I then spoke to my family and my brother, and I was like, hey, I'm looking into it. I think Waco Police Department is a good option for us, or for me. And so he then, he was like, well, you know what? Well, I'll let him explain that part.
I was like, well, we kind of wanted to do this since we were kids, because ever since we were small, we used to always like watching cops, and I personally felt like it was like something just kind of imaginary, like it was there, but it was not a reality for me, until he mentioned it, and I was like, well, let's do it. Why don't we just apply? So we did. We had, I think Abraham saw the post on Facebook where they had like the not hiring stuff, and we just went through the process, the paperwork, and emailed the recruiting personnel, and they just responded back, and we were like, all right, it's official. We've already put in the application. Let's go.
Yeah. When you put that application in, was it a surreal moment for you guys?
It was, yeah. It was surreal, and now that I've talked to everybody that that was there with me through the process, and I'm like, looking back, like it was a lengthy process, and it wasn't easy, but it was definitely worth it.
I know, absolutely. And I know, too, when you were applying, because you asked me to be one of your references, and I wasn't here at the time either.
Yeah.
And so that was when I got to come here after a few months. I was really excited to get to be with you guys and work with you again. Right. So what was the whole process like, the application process like, going through it together? Was that easy? Did you feel like you guys kind of almost had a leg up because maybe you already had someone you could relate to in the academy and all that? The Waco Police Department Crime-Free Housing Program is designed to build a partnership between police and owners or managers of rental properties to keep drugs and other illegal activity off property.
This program calls on management to make steps toward providing a clean and safe living environment for the citizens of Waco by asking them to spend a little time and a little money to benefit their residents. This will also benefit the property managers as well.
For more information on the crime-free housing program, visit the Waco Police Department website at wacopolice.com.
I think so. Throughout the hiring process, either he would go first or I would go first in either the interviews or the paperwork. And so for the paperwork, I mean, we have the same parents, same everything. So, and since we worked in the same employment in the past, I mean, it was basically the same things over and over. So once we went through the process, and then they kept calling us back and forth to doing the interviews and the polygraph and all that good stuff. I mean, I would tell him, hey, this is what happened to kind of like a my thing. I don't know if it's going to happen to you, but just look out for that. So then we would go to the academy, and during the academy, we would study together. We would be able to I would ask him questions. He would ask me questions. So we would kind of go off, bounce back to each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I may have missed something. You used Sierra as a reference. So I guess you guys have all worked together then prior to this.
Yes.
Or
we have not.
We have not worked together, but we did work in the same area.
Okay.
Just he had left and moved on before I started.
Okay, so you worked in news.
We did, yes.
Okay. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Connecting dots. I'm like a detective over here.
That's right. That's why it was so easy to get them on the podcast.
That makes way more sense.
I can really convince them to do. I kind of overuse you guys a little bit, but I appreciate you always
fine.
willing to speak up and wanting to speak up. Let's talk about that for a second. You guys have done a few interviews since you've been officers, with some reporters here, some local reporters. Why is it important for you guys as brothers, as part of the Hispanic community? Why is it so important for you guys to kind of be there as officers and show your role here in the community?
I feel like it because there's a lot of people that don't either there's a language barrier or they don't really know that there's help out there in their language and stuff. So being, I guess, exposed a little bit more, I guess, to say it that way, people will actually know who you are, and they'll be able to be like, oh, that officer speaks Spanish. That officer, I can kind of relate, because a lot of people are kind of hesitant to reach out to to emergency services because they feel like, well, they won't understand me. They won't know what I'm trying to my concerns or whatever. So I feel like that's a lot helpful for them.
Yeah. Did you realize that would be such a benefit to you guys coming into this position?
I thought about it, but I didn't believe it would have such a big impact.
Right.
Because I've had people out there in the streets. I mean, not even Hispanic people, just different races, be like, "Hey, are you that officer that was out in the news the other day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think that's me, or that could be my brother." But
I know. Yeah. How hard is it? I would say, how hard is it on the radio? You guys have to say Esqueda M or Esqueda A? Do you have
No, we go by our call signs.
Oh, the call signs. That's true.
Yeah,
huh?
but sometimes I get put on his calls, or sometimes I get like a message that's supposed to be for him and stuff like that. And our reports are like in my mailbox. I always get his stuff and he gets my stuff. We just kind of, here you go, this is theirs.
See, that makes sense. There's a couple more Smiths. It's a fairly common name, I think. And every time, even to this day, the other Smith will get my reports, especially now that I'm not on patrol. Whenever I staff, he gets my reports. So every time I see him, he's like, "Here's your reports. You've obviously staffed." Like, it's kind of gotten to be a joke. So I can only imagine for you guys having the same last name. You guys both work 3 to 1s, right?
Yeah.
Both on the same shift?
Same shift.
So, yeah, that's probably extremely confusing. But
well, what has been your guys' favorite part? So you started, it's been a year, right?
It's about to be a year since we got
commissioned. About to be a year?
Yeah, since we've been released on our own since January.
Okay, since January.
Yeah.
And before that, you guys had about a year of training, right?
Well, the academy was about 6 months, and
About
then
6
another months, about 3 months, in FTO and
Right.
and in-house Waco training.
Right. Okay. So what is it? Is it what you expected? Because you said you grew up watching Cops, so
It's a lot more than what I expected,
Okay.
to be honest. Like the hiring process and all that stuff and the training, but they do make it to where you feel like you're trained properly, and they make sure that you're following all the safety, like the officer safety stuff. Make sure that the people are safe as well. They go through the whole process of making sure you do the right job the right way.
Right. So when you guys got to get to that point of kind of being on your own, you guys were ready.
Yeah, we were pretty ready. It's still scary. As soon as you get off FTO, man, you go into your patrol car, you don't have anybody beside you to be able to ask questions to. But yeah, I mean, it's you feel ready, but at the same time, you're a little bit afraid because you don't know what to expect. But I mean, once you start answering calls, it goes back to it snaps back to, oh, I know how to do this job.
Right. It's kind of like a muscle memory type thing. Like you're doing it subconsciously. You know what to do without even thinking about it.
But once the day after you get released from FTO and you're like actually soloing, you're in the patrol car like after roll call, and you're like, this is it. Like I'm solo, I'm on my own. Like I have to know what to do after this.
Right. Yeah, that's insane.
It hits you.
And then the same thing, like every time you experience like another different type of high stress call. I don't know if you've experienced that yet, but it was like that first day, everything's on pins and needles. Like, okay, like I've got to perform at peak levels right now because I'm on my own. And then first pursuit, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like day one all over again. Yeah, but it keeps it fun and exciting.
Definitely.
Never the same day twice, right?
Oh, never.
Never.
No. Now, even if we have the same type of call, I mean, everything changes. One single thing can change everything in the call.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you guys work 3 to 1. Have you worked the other shifts before?
Yeah, during FTO, they put us through all 3 shifts, so we got days, evenings, and midnights. So it's just different. Days is a little bit more, the regular people, regular civilians. Evenings is a bit more of a family, and then midnights is just midnights.
Midnights is midnights. So explain the times of each shift.
So I believe days is 7 to 5, and then evenings is 3 to 1s, and then midnights is it 9? 9 to 7.
Yeah, 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., right?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your guys' favorite shift, working all of them?
I initially wanted midnights.
You did? Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, but they decided to put me in evenings, which I'm loving, by the way. I love my team, love my sergeant, and I'm planning on staying. On evenings for now. But yeah, what do you have to say?
Initially, I liked evenings a lot more. Each one of them has their own, pros and cons, but I feel like it's, even the evenings is more call-driven. Time goes by much faster.
Right.
You get to experience, a wide variety of calls. So I feel like you get a lot more experience in different types of calls. And
yeah, they do say evenings is the busiest, right?
definitely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, midnights is more like self-initiated things. Like
Okay.
You get to do more of, stopping or trying to find what to do.
Okay, all right.
But you still get a lot of calls.
Right, I'm sure, yeah. Never sleeps, huh?
Never.
Never sleeps. We're always getting calls, that's for sure. You can ask our dispatch center, they'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
So what has been your guys' favorite part about the job so far? Working with each other.
Working with each other.
Just kidding.
No, being with the community and meeting new people, because there's people every time, they appreciate us and they tell us like, oh, thank you. There's a lot of people that apologize for calling us out for, oh, I'm sorry you had to be out here for this. We respond to every call, so we definitely feel the pride and joy of helping people and being there for whatever type of call there is.
What would you say your favorite part is?
Favorite part? Everything. I really like everything.
Yeah?
I'm really enjoying this job. Yeah. So I used to be in IT, as you guys know. And so it was more of, just working on computers, same thing over and over. And so this job, each day it's different. Like one day you're running code to a call, and another day you're just, answering your calls like normal. So
Yeah.
I like everything.
Yeah, because you guys both were in the IT technical side of things in your previous work, and so does it shock you, or do you even remember those days and can believe that you did that before you're doing this now?
I still can't believe that I'm a police officer.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, because it's like the change of one thing to the other was completely. But yeah, I mean, I know we're enjoying it.
Definitely. I know it was. I thought it was stressful, being in IT and the news, the type of work. But now that I'm here, I'm like, wow, like you can definitely like your stress levels, your adrenaline levels, and all that stuff, because it goes up and down as the calls come through. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely it's fun.
Yeah. So what would you tell someone who might be thinking about being a police officer, or we just had our civil service test a few months back? What would you tell those people that have just started?
Just stick to it. That is fun. That once, some parts of the training process, or the hiring process is a little bit, I guess, tedious or a little bit harder, stressful. But once you get over those hurdles and you actually start going through the academy and, learning different parts of the job, different topics, different training tactics and stuff, it starts getting fun. And towards the end, you get the driving, the pursuit class and all that stuff. That's also fun. Spray day, which
Spray day. That was your favorite day, right?
It's not fun, but you see after you get exposed to it, you see things a lot different.
I'm sure you would. Yeah, you get sprayed,
once
don't
you
you?
can see it,
You did it. Pun intended, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'd also say if you're really wanting to do the job, stick to it. It's gonna be hard, especially like academy, some of the classes, penal code. I mean, it's hard. It's a long class, but stick to it and just keep going through the classes, and eventually it's all gonna pass, and then you'll be out in the streets by your own, and it'll be fun.
Do you hate crime? Do you like money? Then call Crime Stoppers and help us arrest bad guys. By providing information that leads to an arrest or solves a felony case, you can earn up to $2,000. Call 254-753-HELP, which is 4357 for those of you that don't remember the good old days of texting. And additionally, you can now call Star Tips, which is way easier to remember. If you call Star Tips, it'll connect you to somebody in the area, and then when you hang up, it'll send you a text message where you can add additional information as you get it. Help us solve crime and make up to $2,000 in the process.
That's right. By sending in a tip, it's completely anonymous, and if it leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $2,000 in a reward. And just to remind you all, tipping ain't snitching.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, how fast did that go for you guys? I know when I tell people, our community members, I let them know that, being an officer, the length of process and training alone is practically a year before they're out on the streets by themselves, and they can't even believe that. I mean, they're happy that it takes that long, but did that time go by pretty fast for you?
I think it did. I think when we were going through it, it felt really slow. But once you look back, it's like, oh, wow, yeah, that's like, it went on by in a flash.
It's done, yeah.
Like it went by pretty fast.
Right. So if you had to, you would go back to spray day.
Maybe just to observe.
Maybe just to observe. Yeah, you guys got sprayed, and you guys get to be with the dogs too, right? Did you guys put the suit on and get to be bit?
I didn't get to be bit because there was like a call going on when I was actually in the suit.
Lucky you.
And they're like, all right, guys, this is the end of that class because we got to go. So
okay. So would you rather? We don't do tase. We don't. I know some agencies.
No, I tell people this all the time. Like my whole life, I've kind of been curious what it's like to get tased. I have never wondered what it's like to get pepper sprayed, and obviously the one that we got to experience was the pepper spray.
Yeah. So do you guys have a preference in tase or pepper spray?
I think I would rather get tased.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been tased before, obviously, but based on how I reacted to spray, I probably would rather get tased.
That's crazy
because
to me.
The tase is only like a few seconds, whereas the pepper spray, it lasts.
And it reactivates.
Every time you shower, it goes down a little bit further on your body.
To me, it woke me up at night. The following night, like in the middle of the night, my eyes were just burning.
Oh my gosh! How do you get rid of that? How many?
You just
You
have
just
to kind of
deal
shower.
with it?
Yeah, deal with it.
Oh.
I mean, you can't even scratch
Cry
your
yourself
eye.
to sleep for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe I understand the tasing thing now. I don't know. I'm gonna say neither. I do neither.
What has been something that's like challenging for you guys? I know you've talked about how like some of the classwork stuff was tedious, but like what was a difficulty you faced and somebody else could anticipate?
The hours of studying. That's what I would think.
Yeah, probably getting ready for the TCOL exam.
Okay.
That definitely put like my stress levels were like really high because obviously you only have so many tries, and if you fail it, then you have to start over for the academy, another 6 months if the department wants to, pay for that again.
Right. And TCOL, explain what that is, AJ.
Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. So basically the governing authority over our license to be a peace officer. And the academy is, well, all of our training is covered by them. It's approved by them, and then we get credits. We have to have 40 hours of credit every 2 years. So they've got probably 1,700 hours. So you guys are good for at least a year.
Right.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even right now, like we're still getting some few classes. I've gone to a class even right now that I'm in patrol.
Okay.
So I mean, we're fulfilling those hours throughout our work.
Yeah, and the state has mandatory ones that every year certain officers have to take.
Yeah.
Once you get your intermediate and advanced license, you have fewer classes to take, and then once you get your master, you've really only got like one mandatory class every year, plus 40 hours of continuing education. But our department, I mean, I don't think anybody ever has an issue getting those hours, because if you're just doing the minimum that the department says we have to do, you're well in excess of 40 hours usually.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's talking about their TCOL hours and, this is X amount of TCOL hours for this one class. I feel like I'm hearing it all the time. And
Yeah.
so that is something that is interesting and good to know for those who don't know that we have to keep up those hours.
Yeah, I always love seeing the little the memes on Facebook that's like, plumber has 30,000 hours of training required, and it gets down to the police officer and it's 1,600 hours. I'm like, it's very inaccurate. Like, yes, it's true. You only have about 1,600 hours worth of academy stuff, but that's just to be able to take the test.
Yep.
To keep your license, you're continually training, and I would go so far as to say like every day is a training opportunity
Definitely.
and experience
Right.
that's just undocumented.
Yep.
Definitely,
So.
yeah.
Yeah. I always like to ask this question, but what's something that you maybe you yourself might have seen as a stereotype and it's not, or a misconception with police officers? What's something you'd like to clear up for the community about that maybe not all of us eat donuts?
That's definitely
I was
one.
gonna say
That is
donuts.
definitely one.
He saw me getting ready to yell it. Oh. But still donuts.
Some people they get really upset about the donuts.
Yeah.
That's because they eat them in the closet. They want to, I'm above the stereotypes. But they still eat donuts. If you don't like donuts, you're a liar.
Everybody eats donuts.
Thank you.
Everybody eats donuts. Yeah, so is there something that maybe you guys realized yourselves, or something that if you go on a call and you have to explain, actually that's not how that happens, or that's not how we do things?
So, at least not in Waco, but some people believe that we have quotas as far as like giving citations or doing stuff. Like we don't have quotas. As far as in patrol, we don't, if we do a stop, it's because we saw something occur, like a traffic offense or something, a violation of the transportation code. But other than that, I mean, we don't actually, like, we have to have 5 traffic stops or we have to give so many tickets. Like, that's not right. That's not
Right.
true.
It's actually against the law to have a quota. So
Hey, there you go.
I would go so far as to say no agencies in Texas have quotas.
There you go.
That's good. I mean, but that's a good one that no one has brought up yet, is the fact that, yeah, that always you would hear talk about, oh, you're just stopping me because I'm one of your numbers you got to get for
Right.
the day, but that's not it. Yeah. What about you, Abraham? Do you have something that you always have to clear up, or?
I mean, there's lots of things I always have to clear up, but nothing that comes to mind. Yeah, that one definitely. I get that one a lot. Like, oh, you just mean your quota, but it's like, no.
Yeah.
I saw you. Just
I
a stop
saw you.
sign.
Just, you didn't stop at the stop sign.
Right.
Maybe they were on their way to get donuts.
Maybe so.
That's what the
No.
overhead lights are for, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Right.
To get there in an expedient match.
Right.
Fashion.
I don't know about that
No?
one. I don't know about that one.
Dear Chief.
No. Well, how fun is it? I mean, do you guys, okay. Because, like, I could never work with my siblings. It wouldn't work. and I recognize that. And I'm glad that I recognize that. And but is it hard sometimes? Do you guys kind of bicker a little bit? Or
I think on on law maybe we're like, well, no, but what do you think about this? Like, no, I don't think that's how that is. I don't think that's how it translates in in the penal book. Sometimes we like argue back and forth on that, but as far as like anything else, not really. Yeah, we get along pretty good. And
Kumbaya.
Yeah.
we're pretty much the same person, just copy and paste.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we got to get video back on this podcast one day because you guys literally copy and paste. It's down to the hair. Can someone have just a little bit longer hair than the other? That would be great. And so how was it for like family? Because a lot of times, officers will say that, oh yeah, my family had a hard time wanting to come into the force because they were worried. So now they had two family members at the same time. Was that kind of was it easier for them knowing that they knew you had each other?
Yes. So since my brother was the first one that pitched the idea, he told my mom about it, and she kind of told me, in the background, she's like, hey, I'm worried about your brother because, he's going to be alone, all that stuff. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to apply too. I talked about it with him, so we'll be together. So that kind of brought her a little bit of peace of mind. But still, she always, tells us, hey, you guys, y'all be safe, be careful out there and stuff like that. But that brought down, I guess, her worries a little bit, that not knowing that there's two of us, looking out for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think that would be really nice. I know I say I couldn't work with my siblings, but I probably would appreciate it if I was in your guys' position to have someone that you can always lean on. Of course, you guys are friends with the other officers and things like that, but it's just a little bit different when it's family. Yeah,
because sometimes when you hear on the radio, if I know my brother's on a specific or a certain type of call and I hear like they're fighting with somebody, or it's tensions are high. It worries you because you're like, hey, my brother's in that call, and you're tied up, either on a call on your own. So you're like, hopefully, nothing happens. So you kind of just wish good thoughts.
Right.
Yeah. Also, what I like is how my brother in the force is when we have like a tough call, like a really hard call where something really bad happened. I could talk to him, and he knows that he can talk to me. So we both he knows what I feel because he's in the same field.
Absolutely.
Whereas if he wasn't in the same field, he wouldn't really understand what we go through each day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes that's even hard for officers themselves to open up in the first place. So to know that you have someone that you are comfortable with already is great. So
right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is.
Well, I think we are good to wrap it up here, unless you guys have anything else to say or any thank yous or anything at all before we close it out.
I'd just like to thank everybody that was part of the process of us getting hired, and the trainers and everybody and our sergeants for making us be where we are and who we are.
Yeah, definitely. Also, if you're planning on applying, apply. You're going to like it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Love it.
Yes, you are going to love it. So, and all you can do is apply and just go through the process and see how it is.
Yeah, exactly. And we like to encourage people is like we actually do ride-alongs as well. So people are welcome, the community is welcome to come and do it ride-along. And, if they're thinking about it, they can, be in the seat next to us and hear the calls go out and go to the calls with us and kind of see if they're liking it or not.
Right. Have you guys done ride-alongs with community members yet?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
How interesting is that? How interesting is it to have someone in the community be like kind of opened up to everything that you guys actually do?
For me, at least for the person that I had, she was very surprised. She was very surprised at everything that we have to do. Like everything is in a certain order that we have to follow for each thing, and she didn't know that we do multiple things in different things. But I got a thank you letter from her saying that thank you, for allowing me to be with you this day. And from what I saw, she really liked it.
Yeah.
I ran code, so lights and sirens to a call, and so she was really excited. I could see her excitement, her face grabbing onto the door.
To you live.
Yeah, she's like, I'm glad I'm inside during this. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, that ride-along program is great, and they can ride along at any shift.
Yeah, they can choose.
There's like a minimum of 2 or 3 hours, I think it is.
Just ride the whole shift.
Yeah.
Just ride the whole shift. I mean,
like,
it's
you're
the
gonna
best
miss
part.
out. And
Exactly.
And you don't really
Get the full
understand.
experience.
You don't really understand the full, like you said, the full experience unless you ride that whole
Right.
shift.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys know how to get people to sign up for that?
Sounds like you do.
Yeah. I was just going to see if you knew. So just go on our website, fill out the application, or you can come up to the police department and get one from records and turn it in right then.
Yeah, super easy to fill that out. Usually anytime someone asks you, do you know how to do that? It's always the City of Waco Police Department website.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So anytime they're like, oh, the website.
Have you checked our website?
WacoPolice.com.
You can be that guy. Have you looked on our website? That means I kind of loosely know the answer, but I don't really. So look it up yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of information out
yeah,
there, but
there's a lot on our website,
I would
though.
say 97.89% of it's on the website.
97.89.
Yeah.
It's very specific. 97X. Bam. Future of rock and roll. For
All right.
the Rain Man fans out there.
Well, thank you very much, Esqueda brothers, not twins. Looks like twins.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we
Yeah,
appreciate
you guys.
appreciate it, and thank you for joining us here on Waco PD on the Beat. I'm Sierra Shipley, the Public Information Officer.
And I'm Officer AJ Smith, the Crime Stoppers Coordinator for McLennan County.
Have a good one, Waco.
Until next time.
Waco PD on the beat. The heartbeat serving you.